Welcome back to the Goodol'boys channel. So you guys can clearly tell I've got some issues with my tire. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to improve the back wheel on Hawk 250. So first we're going to start off by taking the rear tire back off.
When you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? When you're with me, baby.
You guys probably noticed, but there's a little bit of water in the bottom, so we're going to dry that out quick before we get started. So the tire's drying out pretty well, but you guys can see there's some sand down in here. Obviously that's not good for your tube, so I got to take the tire off and get it all cleaned up. Alrighty, so the tire is off the rim. Let's get it cleaned up. Now you can see everything's real nice and clean, ready to go. We're not gonna have any issues with sand or abrasives in the tire when we put the tube back on. So we're not just gonna put a normal tube back on this thing. I actually got heavy duty motorcycle tube here. Hopefully you guys can see that. The lettering's probably all backwards because of the camera. But we got a heavy duty tube and we got one of these little guys. So you guys know me, I can't just put this thing back together. I gotta take it to the next level. So what we have here is 2.15 inch Tusk rim lock. It's a Tusk motorcycle rim lock, 2.15 inch. So basically, this is for 250 and 450 dirt bike motorcycles. Basically, what this thing does is it locks the tire to the wheel. And if you guys followed along my West Virginia video where I took this Hawk 250 to West Virginia, I actually ended up ripping the valve stem out of the tube because the tire actually spun on the rim. So this little guy right here is going to help prevent that from happening. All right, guys, so the next question here is, how do you install one of these rim locks? So right here, we can see we have the valve stem hole. I'm going to put a screwdriver through that. And some people say that you need to take the rim lock and put it about 4 spokes away. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. So the rim lock, you drill a hole here. What I'm gonna do is counteract the weight of the extra rubber in the tube and the valve stem, and probably put this almost directly across from the valve stem tube. So what we're gonna do instead of putting it directly across is take and offset it to one side, probably like this, and then that way, since this outweighs the valve stem and the tube over there, I have a good place to put weights on the opposite side if I need to. This is where we're gonna put the rim lock. Right in this nice open spot here. So I'm going to do an X. X marks the spot, right? For those of you dirt bikers out there, we all know there's this little rubber thing that covers the spokes here. So you want that to be positioned correctly before you drill a hole in the rubber and in the rim on the other side. So what we're gonna do here is take and put the rim lock in the valve stem hole just for now. And then that way the rubber piece doesn't rotate while we're trying to drill our hole on the other side. There's the X marks the spot. And what we're gonna do is actually take the rubber and put it over the edge just for now. We're gonna go ahead and mark the inside between these 2 spokes as well. Just so we don't get confused. Now we're gonna drill it out. All right, now we need to blow all these burrs off of here. All right, so you guys can see where our hole is. It's this guy right here. So now what we're gonna do is take our rubber piece, flip it back where it needs to go. And then I've got a little razor here. Basically what we're gonna do is poke a little hole in the rubber. All right, now I've got a punch. You can see kind of how it's tapered. So what we're gonna do is take the punch and put it through there, and we're gonna punch this. Now we can see we got a perfect hole and a perfect little rubber plug. There you go, you can see the hole now. Okay, so now all we have to do is put it back together. I'm gonna take some soap from our soapy water here and just wet down the bead of the tire. inside and out on both sides. So just the tire. You can almost put it on by hand if you're doing it right. So I've got some screwdrivers. I wouldn't recommend screwdrivers, but they make it really easy if you take extremely small bites. Really, really small bites with the screwdriver. So you got to be really careful. But you can get it done just like that. All right. Okay, so only one bead is on the tire. We're gonna put the Tusk rim lock on here. Okay, so the next step is gonna be to install the new tube. What we wanna do is unwrap it, get it all unfolded. We're gonna put a little bit of air in it. Just a little bit, just so it's got a little bit of shape to it. I think that's pretty good, might be a little bit much. So now, you guys saw I took the nut off of the valve stem as well as the cap. So this is what we look like. We got the valve stem with a nut on the bottom side, and then I have a nut and a cap in my hand. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the tube inside the wheel here. Now typically, you put baby powder on the tube, but I don't have any baby powder, so we're just gonna kind of roll with it today. So the first thing we're trying to do here is get this valve stem in its proper place, because if you don't, you won't be able to get it in there later, or at least it'll be very hard to.
Some more of the tube in here.
Valve stem and rim lock and tube are all in there. So now we got to put the tire back on. Take a little bit of soapy water. Got to be extremely careful. This last little bit is the toughest part.
Come on. So close. Just pop on there, baby. Oh, there we go. Whew. There we go. On there.
All right, guys, so now we're finally gonna set the tube here. So the rim lock is loose still, and we have not tightened down. Here, I'll show you guys. All right, so we can see the rim lock is still loose. The nut on the tube is still loose. So what we're gonna do here is put some air in the tire, then let it out, and then put some more air in the tire. Basically what this is gonna do for us is it's gonna help set the tube, get it in the right spot. Basically what you're doing by putting air in the tire, letting the air back out, you're getting the tube kind of set up in the right position. So if it was twisted up or folded over, basically by putting air in it and letting it out, you're straightening the tube out, or at least getting it in its right position. We're gonna check the pressure in the tire. I like to have about 25 PSI. Tighten down the valve stem. Put the valve cap back on, it's very important. Now we need to tighten down the rim lock. While we have the wheel off, it's a good time to go ahead and rebalance it. Also a good time to retighten spokes. All we have to do now is put the wheel and tire back on the bike. All right, guys, so you can see the back wheel and tires put back together. So there's, I think that's it. Actually, you know what? There's one more thing we need to do. no back brakes. We got to pump them up. All right, well, it's running good. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned something about this back tire with the rim lock. I know that's going to be a great upgrade, especially because the tire and wheel spun on this thing when it was at 25 PSI. You know, it's not even like I was running low PSI, so again, great upgrade. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out the description box below. There's going to be lots of other Hawk 250 videos linked down there, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Woo!
It's all about humanity.